Michael, I'm going to be your host for this morning. Apologies for the late arrival there. Just last minute had to reboot my laptop. It wouldn't let me into the actual webinar. So just quick reboot. You seem to be okay. You should be able to see my screen or see some slides at the moment anyway. So we're just about ready to get going. So welcome along. Version 33, what's new in version 33? That's what we're going to be covering today. So version 33 released, I think it was about towards the end of November of last year. Been running these webinars ever since, just to give you an idea, and again, trying to keep you up to date with what's been introduced into the software. So not a lot has changed this time round. So that's what we're going to be running through today, just to, again, just to keep your I suppose, raise your awareness of what's changed in the software and what options you've got access to, etc. Now, before we get stuck into the webinar itself, I'll quickly run you through a little bit of housekeeping. Some of you will be new to the webinars, I'm sure. Others you'll have attended before, so you know the score. You don't need a microphone for any of our webinars. If you've got one, you will find it's muted automatically if you enable it. You can't unmute yourself during the session. So any questions that you might have for me today, you'll need to pop them into the questions panel. You can do that just by clicking the little speech bubble icon, which will be on the toolbar down the right-hand side of your screen. If you give that a click, it'll expand the panel and you can start typing in the box at the bottom. Remember to click send, otherwise I won't get those. There is an opportunity to download one of the handouts. There's two versions of that handout available. One's the full colour version and one is the version with the colour stripped out, so what we term the print-friendly version. So you'll not be wasting a toner cartridge or an ink cartridge if you are going to print them out where you've got the black background on some of the slides. Do take that opportunity during the session if you want a copy. You'll find loads of information about version 33 and just your software in general, though, available from our help centre. Now, this session, as normal, is being recorded. We include a link to the recording on your follow-up email. You receive that follow-up email round about an hour to we finish. It also includes links so you can register for other upcoming webinars, and also if you've missed any sessions or you need a bit of maybe a bit of a recap on anything you've covered previously, we'll also include a link to our recordings page. It's always the same two extra links that you get. So those links tend not to change. They've been pretty, I think they've been the same pretty much for a few years now. So flag them as a bookmark or something like that as well, just in case you want to easily access them in the future. Right, this is what we're going to be covering this morning though. So I'm going to quickly mention a little bit about installing and upgrading to version 33. Some of you might not even be aware that version 33 was out there. But we'll then move on to what's new, tell you a little bit about some of those services that have crept in as well, which don't necessarily just relate to version 33. These services are available anyway. So we'll be touching on those. I want to touch on what's coming next. So what can you expect? Some of the updates aren't too far away either, and some big changes coming. So you'll start hearing more about that going forward as well, but might probably be the first you've heard of it today when I mention it. So some good things to look forward to. We're going to show you how you can get involved as well. So if you've got any thoughts on changes to the software, well, that might be something very minor, could be something big. You'd like to see sort of the software go in a certain direction. Let us know. I'm going to show you how you can get involved with that. Even if it's just to share your thoughts on the new version itself, you can feed that back. So we'll cover that later on. And then finally, just quickly mention a little bit about additional support. And if there are any outstanding questions, I'll try and pick those up as well. Now, just myself on the webinar with you this morning, so do bear with me if you submit any questions, but do keep them coming. I'll try and pick up as many as I can. And I want to quickly start with installing and upgrading. So the obvious question, when will I get version 33? Well, it's been available for a little while now. So as I said, it was towards the end of, I think, middle of November, end of November last year when it was first available. But like normal, what we tend to do with new versions is we do this sort of like a staggered rollout of the new version. So not everyone gets it at exactly the same time. as you can probably imagine, if you've ever had to ring our support team, if it's ever been in relation to installation, sometimes those calls can be quite lengthy. So you can imagine if we just released that version to everyone at the same time, we're going to get more calls than expected on installation, and therefore our helpline would just get absolutely clogged up. You'd never get through with normal support queries. So we tend to do this staggered release. So you will be prompted to update your software at some point. It'll be via the usual methods of email, auto update, maybe just a message popping up when you're going into your software. But if you do want that, just head along to our install hub, which is part of our help center. So just sage.co.uk/install. There'll be obviously links there to download version 33, advice on installing it for the first time, or if you are upgrading, there'll be information about that as well. So that's where you'll find the download link and the information to get it installed if you are after that. Now, how many of you heard about Copilot? Who's actually using Copilot? It's something that's Sage, there's been a lot of communications about Copilot. And Copilot, to be fair, it does vary between different Sage products as well as to what it will actually do for you. So there's a little bit of confusion surrounding that. So for instance, Sage Accounting, the cloud-based software, has slightly different features to how Copilot works in Sage 50 accounts. So sometimes that message can get a little disjointed. I think people sort of using it and think, well, where's that? And they're just seeing an advert for maybe the Copilot in one of the other Sage products. So what we've introduced in version 33 is the ability to try it, to try Copilot. You'll be prompted on the way into that. And it means that you can fully explore Copilot, all of its features, without the requirement to go through the full setup process. Now, by that, if you enable Copilot and you haven't got any other connected services currently, so by connected services, we're talking about things like remote data access enabled, AI document capture, bank feeds, it's quite auto entry. There's quite a few connected services these days. So these are, I suppose, what you would call the sort of the cloud integration element. So if you enable those, your software then, you need to essentially set up 2FA. So it means that everyone needs sort of an email address and password to log in then, rather than just the username and password. And you'll need to authenticate here and there as well. So you need to start using authenticator apps just to make your software more secure. So you need to enable that when you fully enable Copilot. That will go for you and all of your other users in Sage 50. But with the try with Copilot, it gives you that opportunity to give it a go. So you'll get a prompt on the way into Sage 50 accounts when you're on version 33. If you haven't enabled Copilot, prompting you, do you want to give it a go? Now you can try it there and then, and that will be valid then for the time that you are using Sage. So in that particular session, you can have a number of goes of that if you want to. Or you can just ignore it as well. If you don't want to use it, you just close out of that and say, remind me in 7 days or 14 days, or even don't remind me again if you just don't want to use it. Maybe you've seen it and you think, well, actually, it's not for me just yet. So rather than prompt you every time, you can do that. But it means that you can give it a go if you want to try that, just to see how it works and what it's capable of doing. Now, we do run a separate webinar on Copilot. Excuse me. We do run a separate webinar on Copilot. I've included the link there, or if when you get your follow-up email, you just receive your, it'll have that link on where you can go and register for that. So just follow the registration link, and on that list, it will give you the Copilot options. So I think we got two sessions during February. Or if you don't want to hang around for that, you don't want to wait for the date, you just want to watch it there and then. The other, obviously, the link to our recordings, you will find a recording of the Copilot webinar on there as well. Liam, you just mentioned there, if you use bank feeds and text, are you unable to use Copilot? Shouldn't be a problem. You should be able to give Copilot a go. If you're on version 33, you'll get the trial no matter what. Just means if you are using a connected service, such as bank feeds, then it means that you've already got your Sage account linked to your software. And it makes it just that little bit easier when you go to enable it to set that up. But really easy to set that up either way. But again, if you want to see that in action, please come along to the specific webinar on Sage Copilot and you'll be able to see that in action, see what it can do. So you'll see things like how it can support you with debt management. So chasing customers for payment. You've got automated payment reminders these days. So as an invoice becomes or reaches a certain point in time, whether that's X number of days before it's due or once it becomes due or it's overdue by a certain amount, different emails can be automatically sent to that customer, chasing that payment and reminding them. You can set that up so it does it automatically. If you work in credit control and that forms a big part of your day-to-day tasks, chasing customers, then potentially that can be a good time saver for you. But again, if you want to see things like that in action, come along to the webinar. Now, I'm not going to demonstrate this one. This is more of a, I suppose more of a, if you've ever been in this position, you'll know how disruptive it can be. And going forward, if you were ever going to be in that position, again, it can be quite disruptive. No longer as disruptive in version 33. So if you needed to update the manager user, if you needed to update the email address associated with that, it can easily be done now. Now, historically, obviously, there are loads of reasons why you might want to do that as well. That specific user has left, and therefore the email address is changing. Maybe the user themselves has changed their email address. Might be someone that's got married, changed their name, so their email address changes as well. Maybe just the wrong user was used to Cloud Connect the company in the first place. So again, quite a few reasons why that email address might change. So historically, that was very disruptive, quite a time-consuming task as well. And it would involve, if you're on version 32 or below, it would mean taking down all your connected services. So if you were using the likes of bank feeds, you would need to take that down. So you go through that process, taking those down, changing the email address, and then you can reconnect those services again. So quite disruptive, meant that, but a little bit of upheaval and disruption to your colleagues as well. It's not just one user that it affects. So version 33, you've now got the new option to change the manager email address. Now there's a couple of, well, I think there's 3 or 4 different scenarios. So I'm not going to demonstrate that. It's just almost like an admin task, that one. So you've got better things to spend our time in than watching me just change an email address. If you want to find out more, if you are in that position, I've included a link there on the slides, so you can give that a go and find out more about that. Next, a quick update for version 33 for AI document capture, and it's automatic attachments. Now, if you've not come across AI document capture in Sage 50 accounts, it was introduced in version 31. And what it does is, the idea of this service, again, it's a connected service, this one. So it's included as part of your subscription. And it supports the automation of your accounts payable process. So enables you to essentially automatically post supplier invoices and supplier credits into your accounts. Now, for some, this is maybe not a great time saver. For others, particularly where you've got lengthy invoices, it can be a great time saver, this one. I'll try and show you this one in just a moment. What it enables you to do via the service is to upload or have emailed to you purchase documents. So you upload those to the service or email them to the service, and it will use AI to read that document. So we'll read the invoice or the credit note, and it will return that as a draft transaction. Now, if it's just a single line invoice, you're probably going to sit there and think, well, actually, that's not going to save me much time, that one. I can just quickly key it in. But imagine if it's a 50-line invoice, a 100-line invoice. It can read that invoice for you and essentially just show you the batch transaction. And you could say, right, is that right or wrong? Or do I need to make any changes like nominal codes, tax codes? Do you want to change anything about that? And then if you're happy, you can just say, right, put that into my accounts for me. So that can be a big time saver, that one. Now, prior to version 33, and we've been running that webinar a couple of times now, that AI document capture one. And the big feedback I used to get was, well, I upload it, but it doesn't attach that. It doesn't attach the document, the invoice or the credit note. It doesn't attach a copy of that to the transaction itself. It now does. So version 32 or below, you would have had to manually attach that document. Version 33, it will automatically do that for you. Now let's see if I can quickly demo this for you to give you an idea of how you would access it. So if anyone is already cloud connected, so you may be using services such as bank feeds or remote data access, means that you are cloud connected essentially. So I'm just going to quickly, I'll share my screen in just a second. I'll just get CH50 open, sort of point you in the right direction. See if I can remember my password for this one. So just logging in. Let me find the right option to share the screen so you can see what's happening. It's just busy loading there, so just give it a moment. I'll get my phone ready as well, just in case it asks me to authenticate. Anyone else having laptop issues today? Mine is running really slow. Mentioned at the beginning, it wouldn't let me into the webinar. So mine is running really slow. I'm working from home today. I'm hoping it's not my internet, and I'm hoping you're not getting like a Dalek sounding voiceover today. I'm hoping you hear me nice and clearly. It does happen now and again, but generally my internet's quite reliable. Right, now if you are connected, so you have a Sage account connected to your Sage account software, then what you will be able to find, or what you should have available, is in connected services, you'll have an option called AI document capture. So that's where you would go if you go into that one very quickly. Just give it a chance to update. And this is where you can either manually upload a file. So let's say you've received an invoice. It's a PDF copy, just for example. You've saved that to your PC, so you can either manually upload that file using the option here, or when you access AI document capture, you will be allocated an email address for the service. Now, you will be automatically allocated that. It'll be based around your company name. And what you can then do is, rather than manually upload, you can just, when you receive things via email, you can say, right, that's going to be a purchase invoice. So what I'll do is I'll forward that email to this email address. And either way, it will, whether you forward the email or you upload the file, it will essentially, that service will read that document for you. And it will then come back into this screen, and all you will do is, if you need to, you can check the details. But other than that, you will then have the option to highlight that transaction and say, right, yeah, I want to post that into my accounts. And what it will then do on version 33 is it will automatically attach the copy of the invoice or the credit note to that transaction. If you haven't yet had a look at that, again, there is a recorded webinar on AI document capture. You'll be able to see how that works, but in version 33, you've got that added bonus of it automatically attaching that transaction. Just saves you that extra little bit of time. Means that when you're working in a supplier activity, if I just go into one, so when you're looking at a supplier activity, if you've got any attachments, so this one you can see I've got a little paper clip next to it. So I click onto that, it will open the folder with that document in, and it means I can easily access that. So, you know, if you're on the phone to your supplier, you don't have to go digging out documents out of your filing system. It's almost like supporting you to go paperless, this option. So you can look at that and querying something against a particular invoice. You've got the document at hand just with a couple of clicks. So the change to AI document capture, just to confirm that, is this one here. In AI document capture, just a case of coming in, and it's this middle option here. If you've got that and it isn't doing it already, tick that checkbox. That's the one will attach those documents automatically for you. I don't think it's switched on by default, so as soon as you've got that, connected services at the top, AI document capture settings, and then tick this box. But really simple service to use, that one. Goes down really well, that one. Now, it is included as part of your subscription. It is included as part of your subscription for Sage 50 accounts, that one. Look, you just mentioned there and just picked up on that. Just sort of beat me to the point there. This bit at the bottom. So I'll just quickly go back into it. Luke's just asking about what does the 200 of 200 credits remaining mean? So AI document capture, it works on a credit service or a credit basis. So each month you will be allocated so many credits to your subscription. So I think it starts as round about something like 75 credits. Now, one credit is used per document. So it doesn't matter whether that invoice has one item on it or it's got 100 item lines. That would use one of your credits. And this will give you an up-to-date count as you use it as to how many credits you have remaining on your account. But it does reset on a monthly basis. The number of credits you will be allocated will depend very much on the level of software that you have. Now, let me just see if it says it in the help center here. So let me just quickly search for that. And I'm sure there's a link on this somewhere. It tells me how many credits you'll get. Oh, view the credit entitlement. There we go. Let's have a quick look. Right, so if you're on the essentials level, tends to be you have a lower level of processing transaction-wise. So each month you will get 25 credits. If you're on standard, it's 50, professional 75. And the higher up the range you go, obviously higher up the range generally means that you've got more processing to do, more users involved. You do get more credits with that. But again, that refreshes each month. Hope that explains that for you. So that's AI document capture. Again, watch that recording if you want to find out more about that. Now, do we have anyone from Ireland joining us today? Just give me a yes in the Q&A if you are joining us from Ireland. I'll quickly go back to the slides. So RTD form. Refinements have been made. So some changes to tax codes have been made just to make sure that they are correctly represented on your return. So refinements to T20, T23, T24. If you're in the UK, you might be thinking, oh, that's quite high, those tax codes. Tax codes in Ireland, there's a lot more. There's a lot more involvement So currently we've just added a couple of new tax codes, T51 and T52. And yeah, generally, virtually all of those are active. So if you thought it was quite complicated, if you are based in the UK, your list of tax codes and making sure you've selected the right one. If you're in Ireland, you've got tax codes with very, very similar descriptions. There'll be subtle variances between them, the way that they're picked up. So quite often, tax codes need to be introduced. Now, I think when I started at Sage, we used to use T0 to T9 back in the day, and even then, some of those actually weren't used. So the likes of I don't think T5 and T6 were used at the time. So obviously come on quite a bit since then. So tax codes have been updated just so they are reflected correctly within your RTD form. The other thing to quickly mention as a change for not just Irish users, but generally just in general. Now, this was introduced last year, and just to set the scene a little bit as to why we've done this is, if you were based, let's say you're an accountant and you're based in Ireland or Northern Ireland for that matter, but let's say you've got an Irish client and a UK client. If you go into an Irish company, the software will always look at the Windows regional settings to say, right, which VAT settings should we display for you? So switching between an Irish company and a UK company, bit of a nightmare. You have to always change your regional settings before switching. And what you used to find commonly in that sort of scenarios, people would have two PCs. So they would have one for the Irish clients, one for the UK clients. And version 33, it now introduces it where it simply looks at your country code basically, and it will apply the correct currency settings and VAT settings for you as you access that. So for those of you, if you are ever in that position, a big change to the way that you would use Sage. So you can just toggle between them without having to think about anything. Just open your Irish company, switch to your UK company, nice and easy. So potentially a big time saver there and gets rid of that complication. So not a lot to see on that one. Now I want to pick up on some of the services that have been introduced as well. So the big one, this has been was released slightly before the release of version 33. This one, it's the new Sage Assistant. So you'll see this when you're accessing the help options directly from within your software, either by clicking Help at the top right-hand corner of the window that you're using, or by pressing F1. It will bring up that panel. So that panel that I accessed just a moment ago when I was looking at AI document capture, you've got the new Sage Assistant option. Just quickly show you that one. So we'll pop back to my screen just so you can see it in action. If you've not tried it yet, give it a go. So again, doesn't matter what screen you're in. So just for the sake of argument, let's go into customer record. So we got help at the top right, got that help link. You get that just about on every window now. If it's not there, let us know. You might have spotted one that we're just not aware of. Or again, you can just press F1 on your keyboard, and again, it should launch the help. Now, normally you're going to get that panel down the right-hand side of your screen, but I'll just maximize it just so you can see it a bit clearer. And it's this black panel here, this Sage Assistant option. So it's been quite impressive so far when I've used it. So I always like to demonstrate this live. I'll pop a question in. So let's say, when is the next webinar? So I'll just put my question in there. So when's the next webinar for Sage 50 accounts? You'll go away, have a little bit, think about that one. It's coming back. Here's your options. Is it training courses you're after? Some great training courses available for Sage 50 as well. If you haven't used those before, they're all in Sage University. You just need to set yourself up a log on for that one. If you haven't used it, loads of e-learns, short videos, that type of thing. just to help you get up to speed with your software. They're all free to access. But there's also the webinar link. So if I just click the webinar link, give you a little bit more information about it. It's provided me with a link to, in this case, the registration page. Let's see if it's opened it. It's opened it behind the Help Center page there. So just because I've got it maximized, I thought it hasn't worked today. But yeah, it's just opened it behind that other window. So it's providing me with that information that I'm after. Let's just get rid of that Help Center window. So it gives me access. This is the link that you would also get if you were on your follow-up email. So this is the session that obviously that you're attending today. Got a clear audit trail this afternoon. We're getting into the realms of a series of repeats. So we've got two major series of webinars going on at the moment. One is to do with year end. So year end tasks you might complete afterwards as well, clearing your audit trail, maybe deleting old customers, suppliers, nominal records, bank records, maybe clearing your stock, deleting old products that you no longer need, that type of thing. So there's that series, but there's also, we're running a management report series as well. So we started with nominal codes yesterday. That's going to be running again next week if you are interested. We then progress on to looking at the chart of accounts, and then we'll be picking up on things like your management reports, how they run, how you calculate, what they show, give you good understanding. How you can run your management reports for a future financial year. So if you're in that position, you haven't run year end yet, you think, well, I need a P&L for next year. How do I get that? What are my options? Maybe you're looking, think, well, I need it for a previous financial year. What options have I got? So we'll be exploring those in a lot of detail. So loads of webinars to go at. If you've got any thoughts on what you'd like to see covered going forward, let us know. There'll be that survey pop up as you leave today's session. Right, so anyway, Sage Assistant, give it a try. Have a look. It's not just a case of you clicking through and trying to find what you're after. Give Sage Assistant a go. See if it can get you to the right information that you're after. It might just answer your question, but hopefully it'll get you to the right information that you require. So nice and easy to access. But pop back to the slides. Another one that you may or may not be aware of is our Smart Funding and Savings Hub. So again, this isn't necessarily relating to version 33, this one. It's promoted within version 33, but you can access this no matter what version you are on. I think if you're on version 32, possibly even version 31, when you go to your home page within the software, you'll have the option to explore this hub. So it's a network of vetted partners offering tailored funding and saving solutions. So if you want information about credit health, savings, ensure you're getting the best interest rates, or you want access to funding, give it a go. So I've included a link to explore the hub, but if I just quickly share my screen again for you, get rid of the web browser there. If I just within Sage 50, if I go to my home page, and you've got your panel here, so you can just click Explore Hub. It'll take you across to that page that was on my slide a moment ago. So whether you want access to business funding, information about reducing business costs, savings accounts, credit store, risk insight, you can access all that information from there. So not a feature of version 33 directly, but it's a fairly new service, that one. So it's really just to improve increase your awareness of that. Now that's version 33 in its current position, but what's next? So what can you expect to see next? Two major things just round, or three potentially just round the corner. Firstly, making tax digital. We are running webinars for that one at the moment. So if you are interested in making tax digital for income tax, again, get onto our website and you should be able to get you registered for those. There will be changes in both Sage Accounting and Sage 50 accounts. Coming soon, Sage Expenses. So being put back a little bit, this one. This is an all-in-one, again, another one of those connected services. So you see more and more of these coming in as people request them. So all to do with expense, if I could say that, expense management. So you're going to have essentially a mobile app where expenses can be submitted, whether that's things like mileage, daily charges, daily expenses, sorry, for you or your employees, entertainment. Enter it via the app. It's all integrated with Sage 50. There is an approval option within that. So watch this space. There'll be more information coming very, very soon. The other one to quickly mention is the Sage 50 cloud accounts. So this time a full cloud solution. Now this potentially a bit of a game changer. If you've never used full cloud software before, a bit of a game changer for Sage 50. Sage 50 has always been desktop based, so you've always had to have that installed on your PC. We see people using it via remote data access, where means that you still have it installed, but you link in, via the cloud to your data, etc. So it means that you could potentially work from home. You see people remotely controlling their PCs, so using remote desktop, trying to do it that way. Sage 50 cloud accounts, expecting that, and you'll probably start hearing more about that potentially towards the end of March, I think. And that means it's going to get rid of things like installation, installing updates. They'll be done for you. So it means that, if you needed to work from home, you get caught out and you need to work from home for whatever reason, or your colleagues for that matter, if they've got a PC, they'll just be able to log onto their accounts. Again, it'll use, you'll have all the usual security loops to jump through. So nice and secure, but hopefully that will be a big change for Sage 50 accounts. So watch this space, you'll find out more. Again, you should start hearing about that probably towards the end of March, I would guess. Now, I've mentioned three options that are coming soon there. What would you like to see? What do you think of the new features? What do you think of the existing features? Get involved, let us know. So there is what we term our roadmap. You can access that from within your software. View the timeline of features that have already been delivered. You can see what's coming next, what we're working on. So have your say. You can see what's been submitted. You can submit your own thoughts, your own ideas. To get involved, I'll quickly show you this one because it's really simple to get involved. Just within your software, again, access the home page. Just scroll down. It should look similar to what I've got. It varies between different versions and regions and levels of the software. But if you scroll down, you'll have this roadmap option, bottom left. And when you do that, you'll get access to what was on that little screenshot I was sharing with you just a moment ago. So you can see the features that have been delivered. If you just want to check your knowledge and have you missed anything, maybe check those out. But this is where you can submit your ideas. Now, this is part of the community hub, this one. So you can get involved. So here's one. Would you be able to put an up and down arrow on the chart of accounts? I think that was, I'm sure I heard someone discussing that the other day. We run a chart of accounts webinar, but I think someone was trying to copy and paste. So they were just wanting an up and down arrow just to rearrange options within the chart of accounts. Upload purchase quotes, unlimited characters in a sales invoice. So you can see what people are asking for. Submit your own ideas on there. The popular ones, well, you can see they get loads of votes as well. So this is the latest one to go into the software. The more votes that these options get, the more likely they are to be included in your software. So this one, all transactions and record types have an attachment facility. If you're not aware of that, you can just about attach documents to any transactions these days. So if you've got a copy of a receipt from when you've made a purchase, if you've got a photograph, for instance, on your PC, you can attach that to the transaction within Sage. So loads of options in there for you, but do check that out. You can add your new ideas. You will need to set yourself up with a login if you haven't already got one for the Community Hub. But other than that, you can get involved, submit your ideas, and you can start voting on these options as well. Right, so if you've got any final questions or comments for me, if you want to quickly pop them in there, I'll come back to them in just a moment. Again, download the handout if you're after a copy of that. You'll find loads of information in our help center anyway. Remember, there's loads of webinars upcoming for Sage 50 Accounts and Sage 50 Payroll if anyone uses that. So loads for those as well. Do get yourself signed up. They're all free to attend. And then just let me very quickly get on to my final slide. And let me thank you for coming along this morning. Hopefully it's just kept your knowledge up to date about what's coming and what's just round the corner. Some exciting changes early this year still to come. So Sage expenses, obviously, would you call making tax digital for income tax exciting? Not sure, but your software will support you with that if needed. And of course, there is Sage 50 Cloud, so fully hosted in the cloud edition. So that should be early this year as well. So if you're looking for that full cloud solution, you don't have that much longer to wait. So it'll be your same software, just essentially hosted in the cloud for you. Now, as you leave today, there will be an opportunity to complete a little survey. It should take you about a minute max, that one. So if you can take a moment to do that, we really appreciate it. Let us know what you thought of the webinar. Give us a score, topics you'd like to see going forward, how we can improve the webinar service, that type of thing. Anything and everything. Love reading those comments. Your follow-up email will be with you in round about an hour's time. So do watch out for that one. So a link to today's recording, registration page, and the recordings page. Liam, you quickly mentioned there, you mentioned, or I mentioned, AI document capture, that attachments of documents will now be added to transactions. Is the scope for this to happen with third-party document capture like Dext or auto entry? I suppose potential scope for that. Don't think they do it automatically currently. I think it'll give you, when you're using auto entry, I believe it gives you a link. It's a while since I've looked at that one. So I believe it puts a link against the transaction, which will potentially take you back to auto entry so you can find it that way. But again, any thoughts like that, get into the home page, go down to the roadmap and get that submitted. So anything you'd like to see change within your software. It could be something very simple. Sometimes it's just, I need more characters in this field. To anything to a major change in the software. Anything to obviously make your life and the way that you work just that bit more easier and a bit more efficient. So pop it on there, Liam, if you get a chance. So it's homepage, scroll down to where it says roadmap, and then you just scroll down to the have your say option, so you can submit your idea relating to that. Right, we'll end the webinar just at that point. Once again, many thanks for coming along. If you are signed up for Clearing Audit Trail this afternoon, I'll see you at 2. Hopefully my laptop will still be working. We'll see you then. If not, hopefully I'll see you on some other webinars very, very soon. Many thanks.